What's up, you guys? It's Yugioh Powell here, coming at you guys with a video on what I think is going to be the top 10 best decks of the format. And that's right, every time a new ban list comes out and every time a new set comes out, there's always speculation amongst the Yu-Gi-Oh community on which decks are going to be the best decks. And so in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my top 10 list on what I think are going to be the top 10 best decks for the May 2016 format. Without further ado, let's get into it. And so for my number 10 pick, I'm going with Kaijus, guys. I think this deck has a lot to offer, or at least this archetype. The archetype does one thing better than any other archetype in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh does, and that's break boards. And not only does it break boards, but it is one of the most versatile archetypes. It can literally be splashed into so many different things. Not only that, but this deck doesn't even really need an extra deck, so it can easily use cards like Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. So I'm thinking Kaiju is going to be a sleeper this format, and it can be splashed in with many other decks. So hopefully we'll see something very interesting coming out of Kaijus this format. Cyber Dragons, anybody? Coming in at number 9, I've got Necrosis here, and I think that Necrosis, with a very skilled player, can pilot this deck through a very intense format, even with Kosmos being such a powerful deck and Monarchs being so powerful, just because Unicorn shuts down like half the format, and I'm pretty sure not everyone's going to be playing Kosmos and Monarchs. So with that said, I think that Necrosis is still going to be a very good rogue option, and you could definitely top a regional with this deck. So coming in at number 8, I've got Heroes, because I think as long as Dark Law is not banned, and as long as Dark Law exists, Heroes will always be a really good deck to go to, because Dark Law is such a good anti-meta card. And I truly believe that Heroes are a really good deck to invest in, just so that way you always have a deck to fall back on in case anything may happen in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the way I see it, so many good things are coming out, I don't really see them hitting Dark Law anytime soon. So I think that you guys should definitely consider playing this deck if you guys are trying to maintain a budget and still be somewhat competitive in this format. I think Heroes are the way to go for you guys. So coming in at number 7, I have Blue Eyes and Friends. Yes, I like to call them Blue Eyes and Friends. But I don't see this deck being a tier 1 deck yet, not until the Dark Illusions and we get more support. But for now, I can definitely see it being a good rogue option, and you might be able to win your locals with this deck for sure, depending on how competitive your locals actually is. But until then, I don't think this deck is actually quite tier 1 material, so for now, it's just going to stay at number 7. So coming in at number 6, I have Magic Specters, and I think that if you play the Pendulum Magician build, they have a very good ability to play very versatile trap cards, Goes in Match, Rivalry of Warlords, and other stuff like Imperial Iron Wall. So the fact that this deck can just floodgate you out because they're all wind spellcasters is very good, and Kieran is an amazing boss monster. So, you know, I think Magic Specters is going to be a very good rogue option for you guys, and it's fairly budget, not too expensive. So definitely consider picking up this deck if you're trying to play rogue. So coming in at number 5, I think at the very bottom of all the meta decks, we have Mer Males, and I think that Mer Males can be a very good deck this format, although every other deck in the meta is just a little bit better. But that's not to say that Mer Males cannot defeat any other deck on this list. So for that, I give this deck a number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4, I have Draco Powells, and I think that we're going to see some more innovation from Draco Powell players, and they're truly going to raise the bar on what this deck can actually do, and there's going to be a lot more things that you guys are going to see come from this deck. I don't think this deck is dead by any stretch of the means. I think this deck will continue to thrive on throughout the rest of the format. Even though the matchup against Kosmos is going to be pretty hard, the deck can actually still be a very potent deck if you know what you're doing. Coming in at number 3, I have Burning Abyss. Yep, I still think that Burning Abyss and PK Fire and different variants of Burning Abyss, basically Dante and Beatrice deck, is still going to have a very, very good chance competing this format, even though with the new release of Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, the deck has been very well hindered. I still think that that is not enough to completely knock the deck out of competitive favor, and I think that if you choose to play Burning Abyss and continue on with it, you can still find a lot of success with the deck, just as long as you can avoid Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Coming in at number 2, and considering the fact that this deck probably has the best matchup of all the decks on this list in comparison to what it can do against the new Cosmo deck, and the fact that this deck is basically a very budget deck if you want to run the domain version, I think Monarchs are easily going to be the number 2 deck of the format. They're very cheap, and they're a very good stun deck, and they have the best out to pretty much any boss monster in the game outside of Dark Planet and Extreme Beast, and that is Stormforth. So with that said, I think Monarchs are easily going to be the number 2 deck of the format. And coming in at the long-awaited number 1, I have Kosmos, and I think that with all the support from Shining Victories and all the support from the past, together is going to create a behemoth of the deck that truly will ravish through the Yu-Gi-Oh meta. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Shining Victory format is going to be a Cosmo format. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, what your guys' favorite top 10 decks are going to be for this format. And also, if you guys want, check out my previous video to this one. It's going to be on the top 10 hand traps of the format, and I just suggest you guys watch that video because there is going to be some good hand traps there that you guys might not have thought of. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you guys like this video, please give it a like. It helps the channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Take care, guys.